So, hello everyone. Welcome to Learn Launch with Raviteja. And this episode, we'll be having a conversation with Shash Anand, who is a senior vice president at SOTI with over 20 years of experience in IT industry. So, we'll be also diving deep into latest technologies and trends, and in the end, we'll be discussing Shash suggestions and insights. So, saying that, let's welcome Shash Anand. Welcome to the podcast, Shash. It's great having you on our show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ravi. Really appreciate it.
So, if you remember, like this is the second time that I'm meeting you. So the first
Hmm.
time was as a part of the career fair. So that is
Right.
a time when I met you and even got exposure to SOTI culture, and I got some goodies as well. So I still use that book. So
Oh, do you? Nice.
yeah,
Oh, wonderful. Let
I
me know
still
if you
have
need another one. I'll try and hook you up, okay?
yeah, I still have those,
Great.
and that is where I got opportunity as an internship as well. So that is the first time that I got into, like sort like exposure after coming to Canada.
Okay.
So that is the first time that I met SOTI employees and other people. So how did you, like, according to you, how did you start your journey in SOTI and how did it went?
Yeah, I started my journey with SOTI after working at IBM.
Mm-hmm,
And I had worked at IBM and I started doing my MBA part-time. And
mm-hmm,
my intention was to actually learn a little bit more about management skills and kind of
mm-hmm,
go for that and see what other opportunities there are. During the time that I did my MBA, I actually learned a lot more business skills,
mm-hmm,
and I was it was very helpful. I learned a lot of management skills, leadership skills. I think that the math part was pretty easy. I have a computer engineering background, so I didn't learn from that statistics side, but the business skills really helped me out becoming a bit of a manager. And so in SOTI, it was about a 40-person company when I did join. And
mm-hmm,
this was an opportunity for me to use some of my management skills that I
mm-hmm,
had learned from doing the MBA part-time.
mm-hmm,
And that's kind of how I started to join SOTI. It was in a support management role, and then I was asked to help build like a professional services division. And then kind of grew from there. And luckily, I had done a lot of support and professional services through IBM. So
mm-hmm,
I was taking a lot of the knowledge that I got from there and incorporating it and trying to build it into like a SOTI way to do things.
mm-hmm. So those experiences are really helpful in your SOTI journey.
It did, yeah. And prior to that, I went to a startup company. So I tried a little bit of a startup after I graduated. Wasn't it at all. So that was a good of a
Mm-hmm,
that was a bit of a learning opportunity there too. SOTI kind of was a place where it wasn't that direct startup mentality. The
mm-hmm,
company was relatively stable, doing well.
mm-hmm,
And it was remarkable because at that time when I joined, it was around 2009.
mm-hmm.
Remember, we had a bit of a financial crisis just before
Yeah.
that. So to see a company like a small company doing really, really well was a bit awkward. And so you kind of
Mm-hmm,
say, okay, well, why are they doing so well? And you learn a little bit about, the leadership team
mm-hmm.
here, our CEO, Carl Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Um, you look at the industry and what are people trying to do? They're trying to save money. They're trying to leverage mobile technology. And at that time, it was really kind of well received to look for mobility, mobile technology, and then how do you manage all this technology? How do you secure yourself? So it was actually a very nice. Uh, SOTI itself is a very nice company to work for because it's always looking at automation, innovation. What technology do companies need, and how do you manage them? How do you secure support? Overall, just configure these devices that are out there in the field, and how do you upgrade them? So that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
it excited me because you have to be up to speed on the latest and greatest. And yeah, and this was well before Android and iOS even came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'm dating myself a little bit right now.
I think that is what motivated you to stay around like 14 years. I think it's like 14 years
Yeah,
I've stayed with SOTI, right?
yeah, you're absolutely right. Coming up to 15 years in, I think in
Mm-hmm.
June or July, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
pretty long time.
Yes.
So, like, what are some of the key responsibilities that you do in your role, Shash?
Yeah, so now what I do is I oversee product strategy. So I've
Mm-hmm.
transitioned from the support and professional services,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of got in. Prior to that, I was in product management for a little while. I did a bit of marketing, sales, so different roles I got to incorporate throughout my career. Product strategy, I never knew what it was kind of in school or anything like that, but we kind of
Mm-hmm.
created this role As we moved from a device management solution, we started getting into what we call a platform.
Mhm,
And we went from one product to a multi-product solution. And what we're trying to do
mhm,
at SOTI is cater to supporting customers in their entire mobility journey. What I mean by that is there's a lot of companies out there that are even still using paper and pen processes for part of their operations.
yep,
And so how do you even get them to start using mobile technology? That's something
mhm,
that we've helped build a tool. It's called
mhm,
SOTI Snap, and it helps you build mobile apps.
mhm,
So you can take a paper-based form using AI, artificial
mhm,
intelligence. I can even
mhm,
this perception that building a mobile app is really complicated, requires developers and resources. Not
mhm,
that hard. It's actually becoming more and more easier as time goes on to the point that it could be built in a few minutes.
mhm,
One part of the mobile journey, we started then kind of going into helping companies with printers and other types of mobile devices. So don't have all the other devices that you may be using, like RFID readers. You might be using tablets or scanners, barcode scanning devices. So now what we do is we're supporting a wider array of devices. So
mhm,
product strategy has really become, you know, what other devices should we try to support in our portfolio?
mhm,
What is this platform that we're offering for you to manage not just one type of device, but now getting into operational intelligence, the operations of the company.
mhm,
So, and you can gather a lot of that information
mhm,
from are being used, the battery consumption,
mhm,
um, the data the data carrier that you're using, how is
mhm,
data being used, all that kind of stuff.
mhm,
So product strategy has kind of evolved from one
mhm.
product to multi-product.
Got it. So since you mentioned about SOTI Snap, I think it comes under SOTI 1, right? So there are
Exactly.
multiple
Yeah.
softwares that. So can you please share something about them?
Yeah, absolutely. So SOTI Snap is a product that allows you to build mobile applications that can work on iOS and Android.
Mm,
Allows you to build them in a matter of just a few minutes. So
mhm,
you don't have to be a developer to build these apps. It's all drag and drop, what we call
mhm,
a no-code type of solution.
mhm,
Now, what we started with is this idea of paper and pen, and can I convert your form that you're using into a mobile app?
mhm,
It's evolved into more and more asks from our customers to say, okay, great, now I've gotten to the from paper and pen to a mobile app,
mm,
maybe videos. Can you create a hamburger menu? Can you create a workflow? Once
mhm,
Ravi needs to get it approved, it's an expense report or it's an
mhm,
incident report and I want to be able to have an approval to go
mhm,
through. So those kind of things. So we've built more and more capabilities into
mhm,
SOTI Snap to
mhm,
not only just kind of go deeper into your operations,
mhm,
but also you want to connect to other systems. And I need
mhm,
to integrate with, say, for example, other backend systems. Maybe it's other
mhm,
databases. Maybe it's,
mhm,
I don't know, like a Salesforce
mhm,
or a ServiceNow type solution.
mhm,
We are working on building more and more integrations and then building in more and more AI capabilities so that you can use your voice and natural language to maybe fill in the data in your mobile app,
mhm.
maybe
And
extract data from the app. Yeah.
yeah, so is there any emerging trends or developments in AMS, that is Enterprise Mobility Solutions, that you want to share that interests you more?
Yeah, so I think as the company is evolving, we're seeing a lot more in what we call diagnostic intelligence. And what
Mhm,
is that referring to? It's a combination of three different kind of areas for an organization.
mhm,
They want to gather, companies want to get historical data so
mhm,
that they can kind of start seeing trends
mhm,
and then using these trends to predict future behavior. So, as an example, I see that my devices, once in a while, the battery's going, they're not lasting a full shift.
mhm,
Drivers are complaining. And so you kind of want to understand what these trends are. Why are they not lasting a full shift? Is it the battery? Is it the applications? Is there a problem with the app?
mhm,
Is it the signal strength? Maybe they're driving in a weak area, those kind of things. So how
mhm,
do I get all this data and how do I learn from it? And so we've started building in what we call operational intelligence.
mhm.
Then, as you also kind of start gathering this data, you have historical data, but you also want real time data.
Yep.
Real time data gives me the visibility that I may have a fleet of drivers driving around all over the place.
Mhm,
I want to know what's going on in real time. I want to see what's happening in real time.
mhm,
And more importantly, I want to correlate maybe mobile device data. So maybe the speed of the vehicle, maybe that's driving and they're doing their deliveries. What route are they going on? Is there
Mm-hmm.
traffic? Is there congestion? I want to correlate my device data with business data. And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of where we're seeing a lot of these trends now. It's not just keeping things separate. The IT manager looks at, hey, if something goes wrong, the operations people are also kind of looking at what's going on with my business and
Mm-hmm.
how can I merge this data and show it to you all in real time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where we're going in terms of trends. We're seeing a lot more the necessity to
Mm-hmm.
see things live and the necessity to be alerted if something goes wrong. And it's all
Mm-hmm.
about trying to ensure the operations of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's predicting future behavior, which is also what we're trying to do. So, can I tell you about your devices that are going to be bad before they actually go bad?
Yeah,
So,
I
that's
think
kind of what
that
we're focusing
plays
on.
a really important role, predicting the future,
Yeah,
and that is where we can develop our product. And
yeah,
even I
exactly.
was reading a paper from Tech Specifications, Consumer Demand for Digital Transformation in Retail. So there I read that there were three main important things that you focus. First is artificial intelligence, consumer
Hmm.
experience, and supply chain optimization and security. So what do you think? Like which plays an important role in this? Is that customer satisfaction or AI? If you want to give different stages, what do you want to give?
Yeah, I guess if you look at kind of the retail journey, you want to start with the customer and kind of understand their experience, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's, say, if you're talking about retail, so let's talk about the store. Even before you get to the store,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the online, the purchasing experience. Is it easy to find your products?
Mm-hmm.
Can I order them online? Can I get full details about it? Can I do a comparison?
Mm-hmm.
Can I get the live inventory?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of customers are wanting different things.
Yeah.
So, Ravi, you might want to order online and you want to be able to just go from your phone or from your laptop. So, different form factors for your own website. I may want to get something today and I want to pick it up from the store on my way home. So, I want to be able to what we call buy online, pick up in store. So, these are different consumers that have different experiences. I shouldn't have to, and what's happening today in some retail organizations, the online and the in-store experience are very different.
Yep.
And I may go to a specific retail store and expect to see what I see online
Mm-hmm.
inside, but sometimes the inventory is not there, and so, what is that experience like? And could I, for example, what a good experience could be is if I'm in the store and there is no inventory, it would have been nice if it showed me that when I was online looking. But let's say it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Now, now I'm out of inventory. Could that store associate simply order for me and have it delivered to my house?
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty cool. Could the store associate order it um, or tell me where the next available store is that may have it? These are kind of things that, so you start to expect things from a customer behavior perspective that you have to accommodate for all these different factors.
Mm-hmm.
Then behind the scenes, how do you integrate all these different systems together? How do you get real-time visibility to what's going on? And that's kind of where the SOTI One platform really helps out. It gives you that real-time visibility of your
Mm-hmm.
inventory and devices and technology. It gives you real-time access into what's going on everywhere along your entire journey. And then we, of course, work with customers on the delivery side of the business too.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening in the truck, right down, say, home or place that you're looking for to get it.
Oh, yeah, I think that plays an important role. Like, even like
Yeah.
recently when I went to one of the big store, in the online, I saw that the product is there, but when I went there, I didn't saw the product. They mentioned that there is no
Yeah.
product here, and like I was like, oh my God, like because I was seeing in the online, but coming to offline, like when I went there, it was not there. But I think yeah,
Yeah. And this is an interesting trend, right? And in fact, you're not alone. There's multiple companies that are facing this challenge.
yeah,
And there's multiple reasons for it, but a lot of them need to embrace mobile technology to give you that visibility
mm-hmm,
to update things in real time. And so we help a lot of customers with, sometimes it's because they might be using paper and pen
mm-hmm,
processes. Sometimes they don't have that device available to them to update the
mm-hmm,
systems, and sometimes they're not integrated all together. And so
mm-hmm.
this is kind of where we help organizations as well.
Got it. And like since we are talking about SOTI, is there any
Yeah.
fact that you want to share which nobody knows? Anything about SOTI?
Anything about SOTI that nobody knows? That's a great question. There's a few things that I know that when was it founded? It was founded in 1995 officially.
Okay.
SOTI is actually an acronym. Initially, it was an acronym, and it stood for Soft Object Technologies Incorporated. Really long name.
Mhm.
And so what happened was people started using instead of saying that long name, people started just using the acronym. So we, in fact, kind of changed the name to SOTI to
Mhm.
make it just very easy for people. So that's an interesting fact. We recently, we just recently announced something that I don't know if everybody knows, but SOTI's been growing, and we just recently purchased the former headquarters of Microsoft Canada, and that's our
Oh,
new headquarters building.
congrats on that.
Yeah, so we've consolidated all of our buildings across Mississauga and
Mhm.
Waterloo. We had about three or four different buildings,
Mhm.
and now we've consolidated them into one. And so we're excited about having the whole team come back
Mhm.
into the office. We come back a few days a week,
Mhm.
and it's been exciting. It's been a very fun journey to kind of see everybody. There's a lot of
Agree.
behaviors, but now we're in one big building. We've got a lot of fun activities that we do. We play a lot of sports. So it's exciting to get back to that place that we were before, and now we've got over 2,000 people in the company. So the company's growing pretty quickly now.
Yeah, that's so. I'm like some of the people who don't know. Like I'm the one right now who knows the facts, which most of people don't know.
That's right. That's right.
And even like you're talking about the employees, customer satisfaction plays an important role, right?
It does.
To
Absolutely.
do that, like what are some of the steps that we need to take according to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of ways that you can kind of evaluate customer satisfaction. The first one that comes to mind that we think about is something called the Net Promoter Score. The
Mm-hmm.
Net Promoter Score (NPS) is, if you're familiar with the terminology, it is essentially a way for you to ask, would your product be recommended, or would you recommend SOTI to a colleague or somebody else or another business? And that's a really important question. And we do that. We frame it from a product perspective, and we
Mm-hmm.
also frame it from a support perspective. If you're
Mm-hmm.
calling into our support organization, and we're really proud to be kind of, at a very high state. We're at around 89, 90 in terms of our net promoter score. And that's a very high score. If you look across, different industry, different major companies, to have that type of score is really, really high relative. So I think that's one way to measure customer satisfaction. And we take we don't just look at the score. We take everybody that's not maybe a detractor or somebody that's not happy, and we
Mm-hmm.
really spend a lot of time to understand what those problems are, what kind of challenges they may be having
Mm-hmm.
that we can help with. And so that kind of dictates it. We also do things around a lot of our software is sold through partners. So we run something called a partner advisory council. And this
Mm-hmm.
allows us to learn a lot about what are the challenges that maybe our partners are having in selling our solution, or what would they would like to see. Maybe there's certain automation, maybe there's certain things they would like. We also do the same thing for our customers, a customer advisory council, and we want to learn from our top customers, what's going on. We also kind of do things related to our customers, which is something called a quarterly business review.
Mm-hmm.
So, in addition to kind of, they have the ability to call into support, and we have something called a a technical account manager. We
Mm-hmm.
have customer success managers. So we're trying to have multiple people, multiple interactions with our customers to make sure that they're fully utilizing the
Mm-hmm.
product. But these quarterly business reviews are really a nice way for us to not only kind of just reflect on, hey, how did the last quarter go, but hey, here's where we're going. Here's some things that we're working on. What are
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts?
Okay.
And we learn a lot. Like, we learn a lot about what they're using today, where that company may be going, what technology they're looking to invest in,
Mm-hmm.
and this helps us, and it helps them learn a lot. In addition to that, we do something called the SOTI Sync conference. It's a
Mm-hmm.
conference that we run every other year,
Mm-hmm.
and our goal is to really meet all of our partners and end users and get them to learn a little bit more about SOTI, see what the culture is like, look at the fun side of SOTI, but also learn about what's next in mobility.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of thought leaders, Microsoft and uh, Amazon Web Services, the hardware manufacturers like Samsung and Apple. They will come and they'll talk about their stuff. Microsoft will come and talk about, what's happening. You'll learn a little bit more about say speak at the last session and talked a lot about AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an opportunity for you to learn about what's new. What are all the new things that are happening in technology? So I guess my answer to you is there's multiple touch points
Mm-hmm.
that you want to have with this customer along their journey of why they work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think each touch point matters in a big way. Whether you're calling in for support, whether you want to learn about new things that are happening, we've got a discussion forum online so you can discuss things. We have customer specific webinars where we can teach our customers a little bit more. We have partners that
Mm-hmm.
resell our software, so we do partner webinars as well. So there's multiple interactions, multiple opportunities for you to learn more about what's happening in the space and then what's happening with our software.
Great to know that. And even like,
Yeah.
is any frameworks that you use, like, taking the feedbacks and, improving your product or customer satisfaction? So, is any framework that you follow? Anything that you want to share?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. We started getting trained in terms of our what we call a value selling framework, and this that essentially teaches you a little bit about it's a gentleman named David Bick who taught us this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we wanted to kind of not just sell our product based on features that you have. You can't just say, "Oh, my tool can, I don't know, remote control into a
Mm-hmm.
device." But what is the value? What is the business problem that we're actually trying to solve?
Mm-hmm.
And what is the impact to the user? So we kind of approach this value selling methodology to talk about business problems,
Mm-hmm.
not technical problems that our features would help with, but rather what is the business problem that you're trying to solve and what is the impact that it's having on your business.
Mm-hmm.
So we really want to start with those types of questions and how can we relate what we offer to maybe a business problem that you're having. And it's about quantifying that business problem, understanding the impact. The impact could be that, hey, we're very slow. It's causing us to have delays. We have to ship our devices back whenever we run into a problem. So shipping costs alone are massive costs, as an example. And so quantifying that cost, how many times do you hit an issue? How do you troubleshoot your problems? How long are you down for? What is the labor cost for that user to be down for, say, maybe 15, 20 minutes, half an hour?
Mm-hmm.
How do you support your users? So these are questions that we ask, and we really want to understand what is the business impact. And then we can talk a little bit about our solution and say, hey, what if we could eliminate that cost? What if we could reduce that cost by 50%? What if we could save you on eliminating the need for you to replace your batteries? So these are things that we can kind of talk about to say if our solution could solve these problems for you and it would save you a lot of money, um, would you be open to that? And then we can show you through demonstrations, which I think are the most important, Ravi, is to demonstrate your product
Yep.
and say, this is how we can save you on this, and would this kind of benefit you? And then you kind of then quantify once they see the value. You can now quantify the value. Once they see the product, you can quantify the value. So this is what we call this value selling framework. It's something that we're incorporating in every single kind of thing that we do from the product as we build in new capabilities into our products. Think
Mm-hmm.
about this value selling framework all the time to say, okay, what is the impact? Is this going to have a significant impact? Because I can sell you a product, and I can make you pay, but if you're not saving money or if you're not saving time or if it's not allowing you to be more innovative and focus on your core competencies, your core values, or your core, work that you're trying to do, then it's actually you're spending more money, and you don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that we are bringing a huge amount of value to you
Mm-hmm.
that is exponentially better than any other solution that you may kind of consider.
Great. I think I've learned something new framework today. So, is there any
Great.
other frameworks that you had in mind, and based on that, you have chose this one, or like this is the first one that you have chose?
No, I think you iterate throughout time.
Mm-hmm.
As we were a smaller company, we
Mm-hmm.
tried different techniques, we tried different things, and you continue to iterate.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that even the value selling framework that I'm bringing to you, we've learned it kind of, when we were learning it, we learned it at a generic level, and then we customize it towards SOTI's needs. And SOTI's needs continuously evolve as we add new products in, we add new things in. So the framework gets modified. We learn from different frameworks. We're always kind of uh, you never are satisfied with where you're at. You want to kind of say, okay, how can we make things better? So I would say that we've kind of evolved and we take bits and pieces of certain frameworks and we make our own framework and we kind of keep building upon it. So yeah, it's a great question, but yeah, you're right. We don't just sit with one. We kind of keep evolving and keep making it better and better.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Shash.
Yeah.
And is there any valuable lesson that you have learned throughout your journey that you want to share?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that I've learned a lot of things throughout these 14, almost 15 years at SOTI. Um, I guess in terms of lessons, if I can talk a little bit about my own career, it is, don't be afraid to change and adapt and say yes and try new things
Mhm.
out. Um, Go very deep in the technology that you're learning and that where you work. Go as deep as you can. Understand what other people are doing inside your organization. Touch as many points as you can. So because I started in support, support was a really great opportunity for you to meet with a customer. It's an opportunity for you to give feedback to the product team. It's an opportunity for you to look at what is the customer using for troubleshooting. So like online help or discussion forums. It's an opportunity for you to understand how do we market our products. It's so um, really go deep. Don't just kind of look at your role as an individual role, but rather try to understand where does it play its part in the bigger picture and could you influence other areas. So I think that to me is a really good lesson. I'm somebody that likes to try new things out. You have to have that growth mindset. When you're in a technology type company, you can't just stagnate. You need to kind of realize that things are changing so fast.
Yeah,
So having a growth mindset is really, really important. The other lesson I think that's really important is ask for feedback. Don't expect somebody to always give you feedback, but ask for the constructive feedback, and give feedback to others. I think it's important to kind of, when you see something that you really like, uh, call it out. When you see something that you don't really like, maybe call it out, but in a nice way, and make sure that that person appreciates what you've done. I also think that you should always give detailed feedback, not, hey, Ravi, good job,
yeah,
but rather, here's what I think was good. Here's why I think it was good. Here's possibly things you could potentially improve on. So when you're giving feedback and getting feedback, I think it's important to go really deep into that, and people appreciate that type of feedback. They kind of d- dim- they kind of don't expect it. So if you give them more detailed feedback, then it's really important. So those are things that I think are really good. Network with as many people as you can. Try new things out all the time,
mhm,
and don't be afraid to ask questions because you never know. I think like a lot of people might be having those same
yeah.
questions. Um, so I think it's important to keep asking questions and keep going deep into areas.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah,
hopefully that was good.
I totally agree with that. Like, even initially I was afraid, but again I started okay trying new things. So initially I
Yeah.
didn't thought that I'll write a book. So but I thought okay, let's start something with small. So initially I
Okay.
saw a movie and I thought okay, let's write a small story. That is
Yeah.
write a like around 100 pages of book. And then later on,
Wow.
I wrote a book about 200 pages, which is about
Oh
Azure
wow.
security. So I just kept in
No
behind the
way.
blue one. So
Okay.
that is
Okay.
what.
I'll have to get a copy. Yeah.
Thanks, Shah. So I usually, ask for feedback. Everyone, like whatever, even in my Instagram channel, I used to keep like cloud videos, cybersecurity, like whatever I learn every day, I used to keep it
Yeah.
so that it will be helpful for others as well. So that's why I started, and
Wonderful.
that's how it's going. And yeah, everything is going good. Like as you said, I'm trying new things and always
That's
taking
amazing.
feedback. So every weekend, I'll keep a post if there is any suggestions
Okay.
for me, because everyone has different feedbacks, so we just need
That's
to
right.
understand everything and we have to update it.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You should never feel that you know everything, right? Like
Yeah,
some people say, "Hey, you're great at presenting," but I always want more feedback. I still get nervous when I'm going to present in front of an audience, and I think that that's a good thing, right? You want to make sure that it's fresh and it's exciting, and
yeah,
you always want to keep it new and do things differently. So you're absolutely right. Never settle for where you're at, I think, is also a
yeah.
good
Even initially I
lesson
was
learned.
like very I was not comfortable with speaking like hundreds of people, but I was in a
Oh
part
yeah?
of DSC club under Google. So I used to train
Okay.
people, like I've trained like more than 500 people on technologies like Android application, web applications, and so on. So
Wow.
at the initial stage, I was giving, like lecture to around like 500 people in an auditorium. I was afraid,
Okay.
but like once I, started talking, like after 5 minutes, I was like, okay, it's done. I can do it. So that is how it started, and that's how
Yeah,
it's going. So
very good. Yeah, keep it up.
yeah,
That's amazing. Great job.
thanks, Shaz. And like, do you have any suggestions for younger generation who are trying to move to IT?
Any suggestions? I think that if you're in IT, I think you want to continue to look at generative AI. I personally am also taking a course on generative
Mhm.
AI by a company called 100X. It's 100X Engineers. It's really cool. You just kind of, it's the what I've learned so far is the space is just moving so fast, and there's new things coming out all the time. I think if you look at the way we're going from text to
Yep.
video, text to images, text to mobile apps even now, right?
Yeah.
Like the space is just moving so fast. I think it's a great place for people to explore and play around with it and try it out. The only way you're going to kind of really learn this is by playing with it. Get an open AI chat, try to just play around with all the different technologies. So if you're in IT, I think this is definitely a place to go and be forward thinking. It's relatively early at this point in time in kind of that whole generative AI area. So you could be at the forefront right now and just learn what people are doing.
Mhm.
Like if you've heard about stable diffusion, if you've heard about Sora with Google. There's so many different
Yeah.
kind of companies that are starting up, and so this is a great place to be. It's a great time to be in because there's just so many different technologies that are getting started right now. So play around with them, try them out, and try to build your own
Yeah,
things.
great suggestion, Shaz. So apart from like learning, even people are like whenever they are trying to get a new job, so how should
Yeah.
they, approach like according to you?
Yeah, I think if you're trying to get a new job, if you're trying to get a job in an area, try to network.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to reach out to the hiring manager. Go, do your research into a company. Try to learn about contacts that you could potentially have. Some people say, "Hey, I'd love to meet you. Just learn a little bit more about your company. Can we meet up for a coffee?" These are things that I think not a lot of people do. I don't think I'm surprised with how little people kind of just don't reach out to the people
Mhm.
that are inside the company to learn a little bit more about the culture of the company, to learn a little bit about more about the careers of people inside. So dig deeper into a company. Don't just apply online. You're just going to be anybody else. But if you try to build a bit of a contact, spend some time. It's a bit of an investment. You definitely, well, you might not get the right people that you're contacting, but I think just building the network helps. It helps you open the door to a number of opportunities, right? And
Yeah,
you never know who might help
yeah.
you out, right?
I usually go to
So
Google Meetup and I'll just try to search is there any professional meeting where I can speak
yeah,
so on, and even like since like initially I've talked about career trip to SOTI, right? So is there any programs from SOTI where people can join those events?
we used to run a kind of a QA boot camp kind of concept to learn
Mhm.
and bring people that are close to our office
Mhm.
and try to teach them a little bit about, how do you test our products, how do you play with them. We do these kind of uh, job fairs, I guess, every once in a while. So I don't know when the next one is, but definitely you can look out on our website. We generally have these promoted regularly, and it's
Mhm.
to try to attract some really good talent into the organization. Um, so yeah, I think those are kind of things. I don't have one right at this
Mhm.
time, but I can definitely send you details or take a look at SOTI.net
Yep.
on a regular basis. Look for the careers and kind of you can start from there. But we'll do some job fairs every once in a while for sure.
Thanks, Shaz. And
Yeah.
we are in the middle of the podcast. So, do you want to
Okay.
share anything that you want to our audience? Anything that you want to share?
I think you asked me a lot of the ideas, so I don't have too much more to share. But yeah, I think that, thank you for taking the time to do these types of sessions. I think they're very important what you're doing, Ravi. It's really it's really phenomenal to just kind of be able to educate others. So you're doing an amazing job in doing this, and I appreciate it. But I hope your audience appreciates all the hard work that you've put into doing these types of things. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Shaz. How can I get this book again?
Yes, that's a great question. You could come by our office, Bai. Come by, and I'll hook you up with some. Okay,
Thanks, Shash.
and
So,
I'll hook you up with some SOTI socks too. By the way, they're really popular.
sure, I'll take that. So, this is the end
Okay,
of the
good,
podcast. Thanks for joining us, Shash. Thank great time, like a lot of knowledge. I think we'll be liking them. And
great.
thanks, Shash.
Thanks
Yeah,
for having me once again.
yeah.
Really appreciate it.
See you again.
All right,
Yeah,
great.
bye.
Bye.